Older men never make this mistake with a younger woman. It backfires fast. Psychology tricks. Love consists in this, that two solitudes protect and touch and greet each other. Rainer Maria Rilke. What happens when a younger woman starts showing sincere interest and instead of drawing closer, you unknowingly drive her away? Not because you are older, not because you lack value, but because one small, unguarded mistake sends the wrong message faster than you realize. If you are a man in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and a younger woman enters your life with warmth, curiosity, and real enthusiasm, that kind of attention can feel electric. It can stir something in you that has been quiet for a long time. You feel sharper, more alive, more awake, and that feeling is powerful. But this is where many older men lose their footing. Not in the beginning, but right after it. The attention flatters them, the excitement pulls at them, and without noticing it, they begin acting in ways that weaken their presence. They overreach. They overreact. They abandon the calm strength that made them attractive in the first place. And just like that, attraction starts to fade before it ever has room to deepen. This is not about blame. It is about awareness. It is about helping you stay centered, self-respecting, and in control of your energy. Because a man who has lived, learned, and endured already carries something valuable. He does not need to chase his worth. He needs to protect it. In this discussion, we are going to uncover the 7 most common mistakes older men make when a younger woman shows genuine interest. More importantly, you will learn how to avoid those traps, keep your balance, and remain deeply attractive without betraying who you are. Let's get into it. The 1. Most important mistake: never lose your mission because of her. The one and most important mistake is this: never lose your mission because of her. Because the moment you do, everything begins to shift in ways you don't immediately see, but you will absolutely feel. Your purpose, your goals, your direction in life, these are not optional pieces of your identity. They are the foundation of who you are. That is what gives you presence. That is what gives you clarity. That is what makes you grounded in a world full of distraction. Don't trade that for attention. Don't put your path on pause just because someone new has entered your life. Be the man who understands that attraction grows in the presence of purpose, not in the absence of it. That is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks, and yet one of the most powerful. Many men think that to build connection, they need to give more time, more energy, more availability. That is a mistake. That is where things quietly fall apart. Because when you start changing your plans for her, skipping your routines, delaying your goals, you are sending a message, not just to her, but to yourself, that your mission is flexible, negotiable, secondary. And that is dangerous. That is how you begin to lose your edge. That is how you slowly drift away from the man you were building yourself to be. And here is the truth rooted deeply in female psychology. A woman is drawn to a man who is going somewhere, not a man who stops moving the moment she appears. She doesn't want to become your mission. She wants to be part of a life that already has direction. That is how to fall in love in a healthy, lasting way, by inviting someone into your journey, not by abandoning your journey for them. Be clear about that. Be firm about that. Because the moment you start orbiting her world instead of building your own, the dynamic changes. The respect begins to fade. The attraction becomes unstable. You may think you are showing care. You may think you are being attentive. But what you are actually doing is creating imbalance. You are lowering the very traits that made you appealing in the first place. That is why discipline matters. That is why consistency matters. Keep your routines. Keep your standards. Keep your commitments to yourself. If you go to the gym, you go. If you work on your business, you show up. If you have a vision, you move toward it every single day. No exceptions. Not even for her. Especially not for her. Because when she sees that you respect your own path, she learns to respect it too. That is another one of those subtle psychology tricks that most men completely miss. They think attraction is built through constant presence, constant communication, constant reassurance. But real attraction grows in space, in mystery, in observing a man who is fully engaged in his own life. That is where intrigue lives. That is where admiration grows. And this is not about being distant or cold. No, be present when you are with her. Be engaged. Be genuine. But don't lose yourself. Don't become so consumed by the idea of how to fall in love that you forget who you are outside of that connection. Because love is not built on dependency. It is built on two complete individuals choosing each other, not needing each other to feel complete. That is the distinction. That is the line you must not cross. And in modern life, this is more important than ever. There are distractions everywhere. Social media, constant messaging, endless validation loops, they pull you away from your focus if you are not careful. And if you let that happen, you are not just losing time. You are losing direction. You are losing momentum. And once momentum is gone, everything feels harder. That is why you must protect your energy, protect your time, protect your mission like it is the most valuable thing you have, because it is. A man with a clear mission is naturally attractive. He doesn't need to prove it. He doesn't need to announce it. It shows in how he moves. It shows in how he speaks. It shows in what he refuses to compromise. He moves forward no matter what. He does not stop his life for anyone. That is not arrogance. That is clarity. That is self-respect. And when you stay focused on your own path, something powerful happens. You create stability. You create strength. You become centered. And that energy, it is undeniable. It draws people in without effort, especially women who understand value on a deeper level. Because again, through the lens of female psychology, a woman respects a man who has direction. She feels safe around it. She feels grounded by it. But she quickly loses interest in a man who abandons his own path to chase her, because if you can walk away from your purpose that easily, what does that say about your consistency? What does that say about your identity? That is the question she may not say out loud, but she will feel it. Always remember that attraction is not built through sacrifice of self. It is built through alignment with self. That is one of the most important psychology tricks you will ever understand. Don't overgive. Don't overadjust. Don't overcompromise. Be flexible where it makes sense, but never at the cost of your core. That is your anchor. That is your power. And when you hold that line, everything changes. Your confidence becomes real. Your presence becomes calm. Your decisions become sharper. You stop chasing and you start choosing. That is how to fall in love the right way, not by losing yourself in someone else, but by standing fully in who you are and allowing the right person to meet you there. So stay on your path. Stay committed. Stay disciplined. Because in the end, the man who keeps moving forward, regardless of who comes and goes, is the man who wins, not just in relationships, but in life. The second mistake is allowing yourself to become her backup option. The second mistake is subtle, but it cuts deep. It is allowing yourself to become her backup option, and once you fall into this role, it quietly reshapes the entire dynamic in ways that drain your confidence, your time, and your sense of self. She reaches out when it suits her. She disappears when something more exciting comes along, and then she returns again when she needs attention, comfort, or reassurance. And if you are not careful, you begin to accept this pattern as normal. You begin to justify it, telling yourself she is busy, she is overwhelmed, she is figuring things out. But listen carefully. A man grounded in old Stoic wisdom does not hide from reality. He faces it with clarity. And the reality is simple. You are not her priority. You are her convenience. And convenience is never where real attraction or respect grows. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. And this is where your power lies, not in chasing her attention, not in waiting for her to choose you, but in choosing yourself with discipline and calm certainty. Because when you accept being an option, you slowly train her to see you as one, and worse, you train yourself to believe that is what you deserve. Do not do that. Do not negotiate your value in silence. Do not lower your standards just to keep a connection alive. Because that is not connection, that is dependency dressed up as hope. And hope without action is a trap. In today's fast-paced world, where attention is cheap and distractions are everywhere, it is easy for a man to get caught in this cycle, checking his phone, waiting for her message, adjusting his schedule around her unpredictability. But this is where Stoicism Win becomes your advantage. This is where you step back and regain control. You observe her actions, not her words. You measure consistency, not promises. And you act accordingly. Because a man with an iron mind does not chase what is uncertain, he invests in what is real. Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And this is your moment to embody it, not by confronting her with emotion, not by demanding her attention, but by quietly shifting your behavior, by becoming less available, less reactive, more focused on your own purpose, your own growth, your own life. Because when you stop being constantly accessible, something powerful happens. The dynamic changes, the balance shifts, and suddenly she is faced with a choice: step up or step away. And here is the truth you must understand deeply. Either outcome is a win for you, because you are no longer stuck in a position where you are giving more than you receive. A man rooted in old Stoic wisdom understands that his time is his most valuable asset, and he does not spend it where it is not respected. He does not pour energy into situations that offer no return. He does not wait in the shadows, hoping to be chosen. He stands in his own light and lets others come to him with equal intention. You must adopt this mindset. You must repeat it to yourself until it becomes second nature. Do not accept inconsistency. Do not reward unpredictability. Do not stay where you are only remembered when it is convenient, because that is not where respect lives. That is not where attraction grows. That is not where a meaningful connection begins. In modern relationships, especially when there is an age gap, it is easy to feel like you have to prove yourself, to hold on tighter, to be more patient. But patience without boundaries is not strength, it is hesitation. And hesitation erodes your presence, it weakens your position, it sends a silent message that you are willing to wait indefinitely, and that is never attractive. Instead, be decisive, be calm, be grounded. Understand that your value does not increase by being available at all times. It increases when you are selective, when you are intentional, when your presence is something that must be earned, not assumed. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And there is a quiet bravery in walking away from situations that do not honor your worth. There is strength in saying nothing and simply removing your attention, your energy, your presence. Because attention is currency, and where you spend it determines the quality of your life. When you adopt an iron mind, you stop reacting emotionally to her inconsistency. You stop analyzing every message, every delay, every excuse. And you start focusing on your own direction, your own mission, your own standards. And this is where real confidence is built, not from validation, not from her attention, but from your ability to remain steady regardless of her behavior. Do not misunderstand this. This is not about playing games. This is not about manipulation. This is about alignment. Aligning your actions with your values, aligning your time with your priorities, aligning your standards with your self-respect. Because when those things are in place, you naturally stop tolerating anything less. You become a man who leads his own life, not one who waits on the sidelines of someone else's. And here is the paradox. When you stop trying to hold on to her, when you stop positioning yourself as her backup, when you fully step into your own life, your own rhythm, your own purpose, you become more attractive, not because you are trying to be, but because you are no longer chasing, you are no longer seeking approval. You are simply being. And that presence carries weight. That presence commands respect. Remember this clearly. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. You are not an option. You are not a placeholder. You are not a convenience. You are a man with direction, with standards, with self-respect. And a man like that does not wait to be chosen. He chooses, he decides, he moves forward. This is the essence of Stoicism Win. This is the discipline of old Stoic wisdom. This is the power of an iron mind, calm, steady, unshaken. And when you live this way, you no longer fear losing someone who treats you as an option, because you understand something deeper. You never truly had them to begin with. And more importantly, you never lost yourself in the process. And that is the real victory. That is how you master your life. That is how you win. If this message hit you, it's time to stop accepting half-hearted attention and start demanding real respect. A man who knows his worth never waits in the background, never settles for convenience, and never allows himself to be an option. He decides. He walks away when he's not valued. That's power. That's control. That's self-respect. Now prove it to yourself. Drop this in the comments. I am never anyone's backup. I choose my own value. The third mistake is imagining a future with her too early. The third mistake is imagining a future with her too early. It sounds harmless at first. It even feels exciting. You meet her, the chemistry flows, the conversations feel effortless, and suddenly your mind starts racing ahead of reality. You begin to picture what a relationship could look like. You imagine trips together, shared routines, maybe even a life that feels more complete. But here is the truth. This is where many men quietly lose their power without even noticing it. This is where emotional clarity starts slipping away. And this is where a man who could have naturally attracted her begins to create pressure that slowly pushes her away. Understand this clearly. Attraction grows in reality, not in imagination. When you start building a future in your mind too soon, you are no longer relating to who she is, you are relating to who you hope she will be. That is a dangerous shift. That is where illusion begins to replace observation. And once that happens, your behavior changes. You become more invested than a situation actually deserves. You start reacting instead of leading. You begin to treat potential as if it were already proven. Don't do that. A high-value man does not rush ahead of reality. He stays grounded. He stays present. He lets things unfold naturally. That is what creates real attraction. That is what allows you to attract women without forcing anything. Here's what happens when you imagine too far ahead. You get emotionally attached to an idea before you've even seen who she really is. You attach to a version of her that exists only in your mind. And because that version feels good, because it gives you hope, because it makes you feel alive again, you start protecting that illusion. You start ignoring what doesn't fit the story. You overlook inconsistencies. You justify behavior that doesn't align with your standards. You become more tolerant of things you would normally question. That is not strength. That is emotional investment without evidence. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you met someone, felt that spark, and immediately started thinking, this could be something serious? How many times did you begin adjusting your behavior because you didn't want to mess it up? That is the moment you stop being centered. That is the moment you begin to lose your masculine energy. A man grounded in masculine energy doesn't rush to label things. He doesn't need to define the future after a few good conversations. He understands that connection is built through time, through consistency, through real-life experiences, not through imagination. He watches. He listens. He observes patterns. Because patterns reveal truth. Words can be exciting. Promises can be convincing. But patterns? Patterns never lie. You must train yourself to slow down internally, even when everything feels fast on the outside. That is discipline. That is emotional control. That is what separates a high-value man from someone who simply reacts to feelings. Don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. Chemistry is immediate. It's emotional. It's exciting. But compatibility is revealed slowly. It shows up in how she handles stress, how she communicates when things aren't perfect, how consistent she is over time. If you jump ahead too quickly, you never give yourself the chance to see those deeper layers. You stay stuck in the surface-level excitement. And eventually, that excitement fades, and reality shows up uninvited. And when reality doesn't match the fantasy you built in your mind, the disappointment hits hard. Not because she changed, but because your expectations were never grounded in truth. You created a version of her that she never agreed to be. And now you're left trying to reconcile what you imagined with what actually is. Don't put yourself in that position. Stay present. That is your power. Stay grounded in what is actually happening, not what could happen. Pay attention to her actions, not just her words. Anyone can say the right things in the beginning. Anyone can create a good impression. But consistency over time, that is rare. That is valuable. That is what you should be watching for. A high-value man does not chase potential. He evaluates reality. He gives things space to develop. He allows attraction to grow naturally instead of trying to force it into a specific outcome. That patience is attractive. That calm presence is what helps you attract women without pressure. Think about it this way. When you rush into imagining a future, you unknowingly place expectations on her. You start wanting her to behave in ways that match your vision. You become more sensitive to her responses. You read into small things. You overanalyze. And without realizing it, you create emotional tension. She feels it. She may not be able to explain it, but she senses that something is moving too fast. And when something feels forced, people pull back. Be the man who moves with quiet certainty, not emotional urgency. That is masculine energy. It is calm. It is steady. It is not rushed. It does not need immediate answers. It does not need reassurance after every interaction. It trusts the process. You must understand this deeply. Attraction is not built through intensity alone. It is built through consistency, presence, and emotional stability. When you stay grounded, you give both yourself and her the space to discover what is real. You allow things to unfold without pressure. And that is where genuine connection lives. Don't ignore red flags just because you like how she makes you feel. Feelings can be misleading. They can be powerful, but they are not always accurate. If something feels off, pay attention. If her actions don't match her words, notice that. If her behavior is inconsistent, don't explain it away. A high-value man does not negotiate his standards just because he feels a strong attraction. That is how you protect your heart. Not by closing yourself off, but by staying aware, by staying present, by refusing to build emotional attachment on something that has not yet proven itself. Real connection takes time. There is no shortcut. There is no way to rush it without consequences. When you try to speed things up, you skip the very process that reveals truth. And without truth, there is no solid foundation. Be patient. Be observant. Be grounded. You must remind yourself, I don't need to know where this is going right now. That mindset keeps you calm. It keeps you centered. It allows you to enjoy the moment without attaching unnecessary meaning to it. And ironically, that is what makes you more attractive. Because you are not trying to control the outcome. You are simply experiencing what is in front of you. That is the energy that attracts women. Not neediness, not overthinking, not emotional projection, but calm presence, clear judgment, quiet confidence. A high-value man understands that not every connection is meant to turn into something long-term. And that's okay. He doesn't force it. He doesn't cling to it. He allows things to either grow naturally or fade without resistance. That mindset gives him freedom. That mindset keeps his emotional state stable. Masculine energy is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself, your thoughts, your reactions, your pace. When you master that, you naturally attract women who respect your presence. So don't rush ahead. Don't build stories in your mind that reality hasn't earned yet. Don't attach to potential before it becomes consistent behavior. Stay grounded in what is real. Watch what she does. Notice how she shows up over time. That is how you maintain clarity. That is how you protect your energy. That is how you build connections that are based on truth, not illusion. And most importantly, that is how you remain a high-value man, calm, centered, and in control of your direction, no matter how exciting the moment feels. The fourth mistake is trying too hard to impress her. The fourth mistake, and one that quietly ruins more opportunities than most men realize, is trying too hard to impress her, because the moment you shift into performance mode, you stop being a man she can feel and start becoming a man she has to evaluate. You plan elaborate dates as if complexity equals attraction. You rehearse conversations in your head as if perfection creates connection. You highlight your achievements, your status, your experiences, believing that stacking proof will somehow make her feel something deeper. But here is the truth most men overlook. Attraction does not grow from pressure, it grows from presence. And when you try too hard, you unintentionally create a silent tension that she can feel, even if she cannot explain it. A tension that says, I need to win you over, instead of, I am already grounded in who I am. That subtle difference changes everything. Don't confuse effort with value. Don't believe that more is better. Don't assume that impressing her is the same as connecting with her. Because in female psychology, emotional ease always outweighs logical admiration. And this is where many men misunderstand the deeper psychology tricks behind attraction. They think attraction is built through doing more, when in reality, it is built through being more calm, more centered, more certain. Be the man who chooses the place without hesitation, who speaks without over-explaining, who listens without trying to fix everything, because that is what signals quiet leadership. And leadership is not about control, it is about direction. It is about creating a space where things can unfold naturally, without forcing them. When you embody that, she feels it immediately. She relaxes. She leans in. Not because you overwhelmed her with effort, but because you removed the pressure she did not want to feel in the first place. Understand this clearly. When you try to impress, you put her in a position where she has to judge you, and attraction cannot grow under judgment. It grows under emotional safety. And emotional safety comes from consistency, from calm behavior, from a man who is not trying to prove anything because he already knows his worth. This is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks. The less you try to prove, the more she starts to discover. And discovery is what fuels curiosity. Curiosity is what leads to how to fall in love naturally, without force, without strategy, without performance. Think about it. When everything feels scripted, when every moment feels calculated, it loses its spark. It feels heavy. It feels unnatural. And she begins to pull back, not because you did something obviously wrong, but because something feels off. Something feels like effort instead of flow. And flow is where real connection lives. Be aware of the small signs in your own behavior. Are you pausing too long before answering because you are trying to say the right thing? Are you over-explaining your choices to make sure she approves? Are you constantly checking her reactions to validate your actions? Because these are subtle indicators that you have stepped out of your natural state and into performance, and performance always creates distance. Instead, return to simplicity. Choose a place you genuinely enjoy. Speak about things that matter to you. Allow silence without rushing to fill it, because silence, when you are comfortable with it, becomes powerful. It shows that you are not afraid of the moment, that you do not need constant validation to feel secure, and that kind of energy is deeply attractive in female psychology, far more than any rehearsed line or extravagant plan. Remember, how to fall in love is not about impressing someone into feeling something. It is about allowing space for feelings to grow on their own. And that requires patience, presence, and trust in yourself. Don't chase reactions. Don't try to manufacture attraction. Don't believe that you have to earn her interest through performance, because that mindset puts you in a position of imbalance from the start. Instead, be the man who shows up fully, who leads with calm decisions, who expresses himself clearly without overcomplicating, because clarity removes confusion and calmness removes pressure, and together, they create an environment where attraction can breathe. This is why the most effective psychology tricks are not tricks at all. They are simply behaviors rooted in self-awareness and emotional stability. They are about understanding that people are drawn to how you make them feel, not how much you try to impress them. And when she feels at ease around you, when she feels like she can simply exist without being evaluated or overwhelmed, that is when she begins to open up. That is when connection deepens. That is when the path to how to fall in love becomes effortless. Be mindful of your intentions. Are you trying to connect, or are you trying to prove? Because those two paths lead to completely different outcomes. One leads to authenticity, the other leads to exhaustion. And over time, she will always gravitate toward the man who feels real, not the man who feels rehearsed. Let go of the need to impress. Let go of the idea that you must constantly demonstrate your value, because true value is not something you display. It is something she experiences through your presence, through your consistency, through your ability to remain steady regardless of the situation. And that steadiness is what builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every meaningful connection. So be grounded, be clear, be intentional, but never be performative, because the more natural and centered you are, the more she will feel drawn to you without needing a reason. And that is the quiet power that separates a man who struggles from a man who understands the deeper layers of female psychology, a man who does not chase attraction, but allows it to come to him naturally, steadily, and without force. If this hit you, don't just watch, act. Stop performing, start leading. Like the video, subscribe for more grounded, powerful insight, and drop this in the comments right now to lock it into your mindset. I don't impress, I lead with calm certainty. The fifth mistake is chasing her validation. It rarely announces itself loudly, it slips in quietly, almost invisibly, until it has already reshaped your behavior. One day you're grounded, centered, moving through life with purpose. The next, you're checking your phone too often, giving compliments that feel slightly forced, adjusting your schedule just to keep her attention. In that subtle shift, something critical happens. You stop leading and you start seeking. You stop choosing and you start waiting. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Yet the moment you depend on her response to feel steady, you surrender that power. Understand this clearly, lock it into your mind, repeat it until it becomes instinct. The need for validation is the fastest way to lose attraction. When you need approval, you communicate uncertainty. Uncertainty erodes respect. Without respect, attraction cannot stand. This is not about playing games. This is about living from a place of internal authority. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes practical, where Stoicism win is not theory but action, where an iron mind is not just an idea but a daily discipline. A man who knows his worth does not chase approval because he has already approved of himself. He has already done the work. He has already faced his doubts and built something solid inside. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery begins right here, in your reactions, in your patience, in your refusal to let someone else's attention define your state. When she takes time to reply, you don't spiral. You don't overanalyze. You don't send another message to fill the silence. You stay focused. You stay active. You stay committed to your mission because your life is not on pause waiting for her. Your life is moving forward with or without her. Paradoxically, that is exactly what draws her in. That is exactly what makes her lean closer, because people are naturally pulled toward those who are already complete. In modern life, this mistake is amplified by technology, instant messaging, social media, the illusion that connection must be constant. But understand this, constant availability is not attractive. Constant presence without purpose is not powerful. What matters is direction. What matters is presence with intention. What matters is emotional control. That is where old Stoic wisdom gives you an edge that most men ignore. You must train yourself to pause, to breathe, to step back from the impulse to react, because every time you resist that urge, you strengthen your iron mind. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you reinforce Stoicism win in your life. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about mastering it, shaping it, directing it so that it serves you instead of controlling you. Think about it from her perspective, not emotionally, but logically. She feels the shift when you start seeking approval. She senses when your attention becomes dependent. She notices when your energy changes from grounded to reactive. Even if she cannot explain it, she responds to it because attraction is not built on words. It is built on emotional signals, on consistency, on the quiet certainty that you are a man who stands on his own foundation. As Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Bravery here is not about grand gestures. It is about the courage to remain steady when uncertainty appears. It is about the strength to not chase when your instincts tell you to. It is about holding your ground when your emotions try to pull you off center. You must understand, deeply and completely, that approval is not something you chase. It is something that naturally follows when you live with clarity and self-respect, when your actions align with your values, when your time is invested in growth, purpose, and meaningful direction. So do not overcompliment. Do not overadjust. Do not overextend yourself just to keep her interested, because the more you try to secure her attention, the more you signal that you are unsure of your place. That uncertainty creates distance. But when you remain centered, when you stay engaged in your own life, when you show through your actions that your world is full and moving forward, you create space for her to step toward you, to invest, to wonder, to pursue. This is the paradox that many men fail to grasp. The less you chase validation, the more naturally it comes to you. In your daily life, apply this with precision. When you send a message, let it go. Do not hover over your phone. Do not measure your worth by the speed of her reply. Instead, return to your work, your goals, your physical discipline, your personal growth. Build a life that commands your attention more than any conversation ever could, because that is the foundation of true attraction, a life that is already meaningful without needing external confirmation. Repeat this to yourself until it becomes automatic. I do not chase validation. I create value. I do not wait for approval. I act with purpose. I do not lose control. I strengthen my iron mind. This repetition is not empty. It is conditioning. It is the process of aligning your thoughts with old Stoic wisdom. It is how Stoicism WIN becomes your reality. Remember, this is not about being distant or cold. It is about being grounded, being present without being dependent, being engaged without losing yourself. You can care, you can listen, you can connect, but you must never abandon your center, because the moment you do, everything shifts. So stand firm, stay focused, move forward with intention, and let your actions speak louder than your need for approval, because in the end, the man who leads his own life will always be the man others are drawn to, not because he seeks it, but because he embodies it. The sixth mistake is turning yourself into her emotional support system. The sixth mistake is subtle, almost invisible at first, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. You slowly turn yourself into her emotional support system. It begins innocently. She opens up. She shares her problems, her past, her stress, the things that weigh on her mind late at night. And because you care, because you're a man with depth and heart, you listen. You lean in. You want to help. You offer advice. You become the person she calls when her world feels heavy. At first, it feels like connection. It feels real. It feels meaningful. You think this is how bonds are built. But here's the truth most men never hear. Not all connection creates attraction. Some connection quietly replaces it. That is where the shift begins. Understand this clearly. There is a fine line between being present and becoming her therapist. And most men don't see when they cross it. One moment you're a man she's curious about, a man she feels drawn to, a man whose masculine energy creates intrigue. The next moment, without realizing it, you become the safe place where she unloads everything. You become predictable. You become available in a way that feels comforting but not exciting. And attraction, real attraction, needs tension, mystery, and emotional independence to survive. When you lose that, everything changes. Don't misunderstand. Listening is not the problem. In fact, a high-value man knows how to listen better than most. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't rush. He doesn't dismiss. He gives space. He makes her feel heard. That is powerful. That is rare. That is masculine energy at its best. But here's where most men go wrong. They don't stop at listening. They start absorbing. They start carrying. They take on her emotional weight as if it's their responsibility to fix it. That is the mistake. That is where attraction begins to quietly fade. Be clear on this. You are not there to solve her life. You are not there to repair her past. You are not there to become the emotional container for everything she hasn't healed yet. A high-value man understands that every person is responsible for their own emotional world. He supports, but he does not sacrifice himself. He listens, but he does not lose himself. He cares, but he does not collapse into her problems. That is the difference. Think about the energy dynamic. When she shares something heavy, and you immediately jump into problem-solving mode, trying to fix, trying to rescue, trying to carry, it's just the frame. You move from being a man she's attracted to into being a man she leans on. And those are not the same roles. One creates desire. The other creates dependency. And dependency, over time, quietly kills attraction. Not because she doesn't appreciate you, but because she starts seeing you differently. You become familiar in a way that feels safe, but no longer exciting. That is why you must stay grounded. When emotional chaos shows up, you don't match it. You don't get pulled into it. You don't let it disturb your center. You remain calm. You remain steady. You remain composed. That is masculine energy. That is what makes a woman feel both safe and attracted at the same time. Not your ability to fix everything, not your willingness to carry everything, but your ability to stay solid when things feel unstable. Don't chase the feeling of being needed. Many men fall into this trap without realizing it. It feels good when she calls you. It feels good when she trusts you with her emotions. It feels good to be the one she turns to. But ask yourself honestly, is she leaning on you because she's building something with you or because you've made yourself her emotional outlet? There is a difference. A big one. One leads to connection and attraction. The other leads to comfort without desire. Be a high-value man. That means you set emotional boundaries without being cold. You show empathy without losing your strength. You care without overextending yourself. You understand that attraction grows in spaces where both people stand on their own feet, not where one person carries the other. That is the balance most men miss. Here's something important to remember. When you become her emotional crutch, you remove the natural tension that attraction needs. There's no mystery, no uncertainty, no emotional space. She knows you'll always be there, always ready, always available to absorb whatever she brings. And while that sounds like loyalty, it often turns into predictability. And predictability, when it replaces emotional independence, weakens attraction. So, what should you do instead? Listen, be present, but don't overstep. Don't rush to fix. Don't try to be the hero. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply say, I hear you, and leave it there. Let her process. Let her own her emotions. Let her find her strength. That shows respect. That shows confidence. That shows you're not trying to control or rescue. You're simply standing beside her, not underneath her weight. This is where masculine energy becomes truly powerful. It's not loud. It's not forceful. It's calm. It's grounded. It's self-contained. A man who carries himself this way naturally attracts women because he doesn't need to prove his value by overgiving. He doesn't need to earn attention by solving problems. He simply is. And that presence speaks louder than any advice ever could. Don't lose your peace trying to carry her emotional storms. That is not your role. Your role is to stay centered, to stay balanced, to stay connected to yourself. Because the moment you lose that, you lose the very thing that made her attracted to you in the first place. Your strength, your calm, your independence. Be supportive, but don't become the solution to everything. Be kind, but don't become available at the cost of your own stability. Be present, but don't disappear into her world. That is how a high-value man moves. That is how he continues to attract women without losing himself in the process. And here's the deeper truth. Women don't just feel comfort from a man's presence. They feel attraction from his emotional strength, from his ability to stand firm, from his refusal to be pulled into chaos. That is masculine energy. And when you maintain that, you create a dynamic where she feels both safe and drawn to you, not just one or the other. So stay warm, stay supportive, but protect your center, protect your time, protect your emotional energy. Because once you give that away too freely, you can't get it back easily. And more importantly, she will feel that shift. She may not say it. She may not even understand it herself, but she will feel it. Be the man who listens, but does not absorb everything. Be the man who cares, but does not carry everything. Be the man who supports, but does not lose himself. That is the man who continues to attract women, not just comfort them. That is the man who holds both connection and desire in balance. And remember this simple line, because it will guide you every time. Stay grounded, not entangled. Say it again. Stay grounded, not entangled. That is the mindset of a high-value man. That is the energy that keeps attraction alive. If you felt that hit home, then don't ignore it. Most men lose attraction not because they lack value, but because they give too much of themselves in the wrong way. Don't be that man. Drop a comment right now, I support, but I never lose myself. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp, real-world psychology, and remember, a man who protects his peace becomes a man she can't replace. The seventh mistake is trying to act like you're her age. The seventh mistake is simple, yet it quietly destroys attraction faster than most men realize, trying to act like you're her age. Don't do it. It feels logical on the surface. You meet a younger woman, you feel that spark, that energy, that sense of being alive again, and suddenly you think the way to keep that connection is to step into her world completely. You change your style. You adjust your tone. You pick up slang that doesn't naturally belong to you. You try to mirror her pace, her excitement, her rhythm. But here is the truth most men learn too late. Attraction doesn't grow from imitation, it grows from contrast. And this is where understanding female psychology and subtle psychology tricks becomes essential. A younger woman is not drawn to you because you can blend into her world. She is drawn to you because you offer something different, something steady, something she cannot easily find among men her own age. When you try to erase that difference, you erase the very tension that creates attraction in the first place. Be honest with yourself. When a man in his 40s, 50s, or beyond suddenly starts behaving like he's in his 20s, it doesn't feel natural, it feels performed. And women, especially when it comes to female psychology, are incredibly perceptive to emotional authenticity. She may not call it out directly, but she feels it. She senses the effort. She notices the misalignment. And instead of pulling her closer, it quietly creates distance. That is why you must understand this deeply. Your age is not something to hide, it is something to stand on. It represents experience. It represents resilience. It represents lessons learned through time, failure, growth, and reflection. These are not small things. These are powerful signals in the realm of how to fall in love because real attraction, lasting attraction, is not built on surface-level similarity, it is built on emotional depth and grounded presence. Think about it. Younger men often bring excitement, yes, but they also bring uncertainty, inconsistency, and a lack of direction. You, on the other hand, have lived. You have faced real challenges. You have learned what matters and what doesn't. That calm, that clarity, that quiet confidence, it is rare. And rarity is attractive. But the moment you abandon it in an attempt to fit in, you lose your edge. You lose the very thing that made her notice you in the first place. So don't chase her energy. Don't try to match her intensity. Don't compete where you were never meant to compete. Instead, hold your frame. Stay grounded. Stay centered. That is where your power is. That is where your magnetism lives. In the world of psychology tricks, one of the most overlooked truths is this. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own identity. Not perfect, not flashy, not loud, but real. When you are at ease with who you are, when you move through the world without trying to prove anything, it creates a sense of safety and intrigue at the same time. And that combination is incredibly compelling in female psychology. It signals strength without aggression. It signals confidence without noise. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need to pretend to be anything else. That is powerful. That is attractive. That is how connections begin to deepen in a meaningful way. And if you truly want to understand how to fall in love in a way that lasts, you must start here. Authenticity over performance. Presence over pressure. Depth over display. A younger woman is not looking for a copy of herself. She is looking for balance. She is looking for someone who can bring stability into her emotional world, not mirror the same highs and lows she already experiences. When you stay true to your natural rhythm, when you don't rush, when you don't overextend, you create space for her to come toward you. And that is key. Attraction should feel like a pull, not a push. So be still when others are restless. Be grounded when others are chaotic. Be calm when others are trying too hard. That is not weakness. That is mastery. And in the subtle language of attraction, mastery speaks louder than any words, any trends, or any temporary act ever could. All right, my friend, we've reached the end, and I'm glad you stayed with me this far. Listen, keep it simple. Don't chase, don't perform, and don't lose yourself trying to win someone's attention. Be the man who stands firm. Be the man who knows his value without needing to prove it. That is where your real power is. When you stay grounded in who you are, your experience, your standards, your purpose, everything else falls into place naturally. Respect comes easier. Attraction feels effortless. And most importantly, your life stays in your control. You've lived long enough to understand what truly matters. So protect that wisdom. Don't trade it for temporary excitement. Don't hand it over for validation. Keep your standards high. Stay calm. Stay clear. Stay in charge of your direction. If this spoke to you, drop a comment below and share what hit home for you. I read every single one. And if you want more straight, no-nonsense guidance for men who refuse to settle, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. You've got this. Now go out there and live like the man you already are. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.